Above all else, I want to see things differently. So this is pretty amazing, especially when it says you can in fact gain vision from this, just doing this with this table. As we discussed, I believe, in lesson 7, where we talked about the chair experience that I had, it quite literally is, and you're literally asking to see the purpose of the universe in, say, this table. So as you're doing this and practicing this, recognize that it's no little thing that you're doing, that you want to see this differently. Yes, above all else, I want to see this differently is referencing to everything, and that you want to learn how to see differently. You're really putting that effort into it, that you want to see it differently. And it's likely, and the majority of people do not succeed in seeing throughout this course, the entirety of this course. So don't stress about it too much, that you might not be able to recognize any sort of degree of the spiritual universe quite yet. That's okay. Don't freak out, please. Relax. It's more so about currently, especially in the first time around, to recognize a state of peace and discovering peace than it is to actually be able to see the spiritual universe. The spiritual universe is available and palpable, but it requires that thinking completely differently than you have thought before. Yes, it is in where it is possible to perform miracles and to be a miraculous being, and to all weaknesses become strengths, and this is pretty intense. It can be pretty intense. So we want to recognize that it's okay that this really is just little baby steps. This is not as big as it sounds. You're actually only taking baby steps. And so let's just relax about it and recognize, yes, above all else, I want to see this differently. I want to recognize that it's not a table by itself. It's not a chair by itself. It's not a person by itself. It's not a roof or a ceiling by itself. It's not a dog by itself. But that, in fact, there is more. And as much as I can tell you about it and talk about it and teach about it and all this different stuff, and you might know about it, you might be looking for something specifically, even as when I reference to energy in the spiritual universe. And it's better to not know what you're looking for. Just know that you're looking beyond the constructs of the shape and the form. So just recognize that you want to see more. And so there's got to be more somewhere. You're calling for it. You're asking for it. You're taking that honest diligence and putting it to it. And so it gets into that, essentially the whole purpose of the universe within that table, within that chair. That's pretty intense, right? That is no small little thing. Right? You can see the whole purpose of the whole universe. As everything, like the table on its own, by itself, is nothing. And then what is on its own? What is by itself? And even as to think about a table, could you have a table if you didn't have any, say, wood? Could you have a table without having wood if you had no, say, trees? If you had no dirt? If you had no seeds? If you had no, say, bushes that they evolved from or something? If you had no fertilizer, if you had no animals, if you had no, and it's like it has this whole circle of life, right? And why do you have a table if you don't have chairs? Why, if you have nothing to put on it? If you have no conscious self, no tools, if you have no house, if you have no consciousness, if you have no body, if you have no, so you can kind of see that it's all working together, and that a table by itself, yes, might be nothing, but does anything exist by itself? So even just seeing that as far as what you see as their purposes throughout it all, it gets even deeper, even bigger when this energy of everything and is this connective essence of all that is And that even as a painting, to see all the strokes of a painting, develop pictures of people, tons of people sitting at a beach and with their umbrellas and everything. And everything's just single strokes. And to say a single stroke on its own is nothing, but together, without that single stroke, the painting is incomplete. And so you can almost see that this is about the bigger picture, much bigger picture. And that's why you're actually asking about the whole purpose of this picture, the whole purpose of the entirety of the universe. It's no little thing, but it is a baby step. Of course, it's a very beautiful thing to take this determination and to dedicate yourself and to have this willingness to really wanting to grasp this, wanting to learn this. You are entirely capable of discovering not only vision throughout this course, but vision throughout this specific lesson, this specific practice at any time. You just have to be receptive and expect it, and even recognize something that's telling you it's coming. And it just naturally happens. You'll be surprised how much you want this to happen more than you don't want it to happen. And that's kind of what this lesson's about. So keep up the willingness, keep up the effort.